Hello and welcome everyone. This is Mike. I'm the founder and CEO of SuiteDash. This video is just one in a series of many videos that will be highlighting both new and current features. Be sure that you're subscribed on YouTube and following us on all social media to get the latest videos and updates about new and existing features. Alright, so let's get started. We're here to talk about the checkout form, which is the state that what many people call the shopping block, checkout block, whatever you want to call it. It is a checkout form, and let's go ahead and just kind of start with the building blocks of how this entire pipeline is designed. Okay, so as you know, of course, items is a very popular, every invoicing or any construction that allows for invoicing the end is going to have items. Of course, we have items. You can create an item just as you know. The interesting part about our items is that you can set automations associated with the items individually. So meaning that if you want to say, for example, when someone buys this particular item, maybe it's some service that you have that's very specific, then you want to trigger the automations when the invoice is paid with this items, or whenever this item is purchased, money exchanges hands for the item. Maybe you add them to a circle. Maybe you start a project. Maybe you add them to a specific email marketing list, audience, etc. So we've also extended that to include estimates and proposals. So you can create an entire pipeline that's exactly as you need it. So if you put this item on a proposal, someone chooses it and it's signed, then we fire those automations. Then it converts to an invoice maybe. And then when it's paid, we fire those automations. So you have a lot of flexibility here, and not just on an invoice level, not just on a proposal level, but literally if they add, say, 5 items to a proposal, you have a granular control mechanism to fire automations uniquely for each of those items to create the experience that you're after when that set of items, or those 5 individual items, are put together and purchased or signed as part of a proposal, etc. So super powerful. And then of course you can also have invoice level automations. You could have 15 different automations that are brought to the table by all these different angles, and they're all going to fire all at the same time. Of course, it's up to you to understand how that's all going to work, and you can design that completely on your own. This is the power of SuiteDash, right? So that's really powerful. Now, we have, in addition, these are some more recent additions. An add-on is definitely an addition. So here are add-ons. And add-ons are a little different. They are dependent, or can be dependent, on which items are selected in something like a proposal or a checkout form. So you can set, if you have this completely empty, then this add-on will show all the time. It doesn't require any. By the way, this session is being recorded. Okay, everyone, it'll be available to you on YouTube, usually within 24 hours. So these can be, if you have no entries here, it will show all the time, or you can narrow it down and say, well, I only need to show this add-on when this service is selected by my client in a proposal or checkout form. Okay. And then you have a very powerful option if you say, okay, but they can only select this add-on if all of the items are selected. Okay, so this increases the flexibility and power even more. And that's what add-ons are for. So they are augmentations to an item that is purchased. And then packages. Okay, so packages are designed to be a place where you can collect or group together, bundle together items and add-ons that you have already created. These are your services, your augmentations to those services, your add-ons. You put them all together and you tell your customers, okay, If you want to buy everything all together, I'm willing to give it to you for a better price, the Sam's Club price, or whatever they call that place in your country where you go and you buy 4-gallon jars of pickles. So whatever it is, right? So this is a package where the design is, let's get all these items. I'm going to give you everything for a discounted price. Now, see, $2,850, $275. To be honest, no, or what's unique about the packages is these numbers don't really mean anything other than identifying these services because the price is set right here. So I can sell all of this for $50 if I want to when they buy the package, right? And that's the point. That's the point of a package, grouping them together, offering different packages, which are combinations of your existing items and add-ons. Packages are also different in that it's a one-time payment. You can have a one-time package, or you can have a subscription plan package, in which case you will also group together everything that you have and select a subscription plan that you've created. And this will, for everyone who purchases this package, create a subscription according to the metadata associated with the plan. Okay? Is that all clear? Did that make sense to everybody? Or what questions do you guys have so far? Because this is what exists right now, what is available on proposals. You can create a proposal right now with a dynamic selection of items and add-ons, or you can create it with packages. And we'll go over this in a minute. I will sketch this out for you a little bit more clearly about what we have now, and then we'll talk about where we're going in the future with this. It all makes sense? Okay. Now, one thing to notice before we leave here, just like we had less than 24 hours notice for you guys to show up, I had less than 24 hours notice to prepare, but I think we'll get through this, right? You'll notice that items do not have that little one-time / subscription slider, and neither do add-ons. So we're having, right now we have one-time and subscription add-ons. I'm sorry, one-time add-ons only. We don't have the slider for one-time and subscription. That only exists in packages. Okay, so let's go and kind of look now at, this is the paradigm that we are living in right this minute. And when checkout form is released initially, it will also follow, if you haven't figured already, the proposal choice block, right? The way that works, the way that you're able to combine add-ons, items, or packages is exactly how the checkout form will work. The only difference is the checkout form will take a payment. The proposal just lets them choose, and then they sign to agree, right? Which makes sense. And it's also super important. I think you probably, you guys are smart enough to figure this out, that the entire pipeline has to be compatible. Okay. So from proposal, when they choose the items, we have to pass those to an invoice for payment. And so all of that has to be compatible. And that has explained some of the time that has been spent. It's been a very big under the hood kind of effort to get here, but we're almost there. So I'm glad you're excited, Arlene. Good to see you. Proposal, all the items and add-ons selected there, they go to an invoice for payment. And in the same way, we need the same congruity between a checkout form when someone chooses and they pay, and they will pay right there in the space, right there on the page. That will all happen, but we will generate a paid invoice in the back end so that it will hit your accounting the right way, so that everything is complete. They will have an invoice, a paid invoice that they can have access to and print out if you so choose. So everything has to be in this way, in this pipeline, and it all has to match. So right now, okay, you have the ability to set items and add-ons with conditional logic. So you can say, I want to prepare I want to add to a proposal is a place where you are familiar with this now. I want to say, I want to offer these 4 one-time items, because remember, right now we only have one-time items. And I want to offer these add-ons. The conditional logic is controlled in the add-ons, as we just saw. So you get a situation that looks a lot like, say, this, okay? And this is a proposal, and you have, these are your items. Here's an add-on that has no conditional logic, is sitting here already. But look what happens when I select an item. Oh, here's some add-ons that are conditional. They showed up. Everything's good. We have the math is happening. I'm allowing more than one item to be selected. Maybe they want to have all these, and now they want to add these add-ons, and this adds up. And we have a total. This total can be carried even to the next page. You see here, you can use, there's a placeholder for the proposal value. So if I go back and let's see if I can break this. Now we're at 38.75, and I go forward. It's dynamically changing right on the fly. And now they can read through your legal mumbo jumbo and sign and approve. Everybody's happy. If the automation is enabled, this goes to an invoice, automatically to an invoice. And these are the services. These are added as line items on the invoice, and it's ready to be sent, paid that way, right? If that's how you want to make your process work, that's great. Checkout form works exactly the same way as this. It's not quite in the condition, the final finished condition as proposals, which we'll see in a minute, but let's look at it, okay? So here we are in forms. Now, please let me disclaimer. All right, everybody ready for the double asterisk disclaimer? This checkout form is not live for you, okay? Don't go looking for it. If you see this on YouTube, don't hit us on support saying, where's my checkout form? It's not ready yet. It's not live yet. It's really, really close, okay? Maybe by the time you see it, it will be, but this is what it looks like. So you have a new form, okay? And let's see what it looks like. I'm going to build a new checkout form here. I know that I'm in a live session. All right. So here's your checkout form. What does this look like? Let's see who can win this contest. What does this look like to you? Let's see. Hey, Arlene wins. Kickoff form. Very good. Julia, close second. Why do you think this is a kickoff form? Why do you think this is the direction we must go to make this work? The reason is because you're going to put this where? Who's going to? That's right. And where are you going to put this in 99%, 95% of the use cases? You're going to put this, yes, on a website, public facing, right, Kiara? That's exactly right. You're going to put this on a public facing, which means we have unknown targets accessing this. And so this gives you the way in a familiar and consistent with what you're understanding and already know. And it just has to be this way for our system not to blow up. And I'm not saying this is actually the top of, this is an accomplishment. What this is, it's not like some kind of compromise. This is really, really great, right? Because now we have a checkout form that has a different flavor, gives you these options that you need, also gives you the ability to add all your custom fields that you want. We're not going to suggest that you add a giant 100 field form here. Of course, you want to reduce the friction as much as possible, but you'll be able to get the critical information that you need during the checkout, during the purchase, and then you are able to, as you know, make all your assignments, make all your automations, get them all sorted out. You're even able to handle known targets in the same way. So if a known target lands on your landing page for your offer, they make some selections and they choose, then we recognize them by email address and we apply a different set of automations to them if you so choose based on these inputs here. So all the bases are covered that are already covered, and you have some additional options around checkout options, etc. So there's a lot of new things here that you will learn to play with, but let's look. I want to go back and just go to a form that I already have built. But good, you guys are right up to speed. Let me read this question from Kara. Maybe a question later. Will be possible to convert or duplicate current kickoff update forms into checkout? No, Kiara. I'm sorry about that. No, that's not going to be possible. These are different forms completely. Um, they'll need to be built for purpose built for this use case. Okay. I'm not saying it's impossible. It's practically um, non-productive for us. Put it that way. We can move. We could do it if it was a computer science test course, that we needed to challenge ourselves. Of course, it could happen, but practically, it's just not a place that you want us to spend our time. You want us to spend our time doing other things, I think. All right. So that's my answer. Now, here we are in checkout. So this is your reference title. That's all this is for you to recognize it in a list. And you're going to choose your gateway. Here's a dynamic title for the end result of the invoice that is generated when a person pays on the front end for this, right? So you can use all your placeholders. You can access them here. But here's the fun part, right? Let's configure our checkout. Here, we have all the same options that you're used to in proposals already. If you're working there, you can add these items. You can add the add-ons. You can limit the add-ons, and you can even add taxes. This is all available for you, or you could choose packages and do it like that, okay? And then once you have this form created and you have your items all selected, you will be able to go to, say, a landing page and build a nice landing page and use the also new here, form block, which makes it really easy for you to not have to embed forms in the way that was previously done. This is just super no code. All you have to do is just select the form and it inserts it for you in a way that's very, very easy. Okay. So you can see that I've inserted the checkout form and thank you, Arlene. I need it. We all need it all the time because, this business is not for the faint of heart. And I love it for that. I love it for that. But it really helps to know that people appreciate it. It does. So here we are. This is our landing page. We have a checkout form on it. Let's see what it looks like. Even though I really kind of hate showing things that are not completely finished, but here it is in working. Let's do a little refresh. And here's another disclaimer, 3 asterisks here. This is not ready. This is not what it's going to look like. There are options that are now live in proposals that will let you designate the colors, even for these numbers, the backgrounds, the borders, the border radius. You have incredible no-code control over everything that you see here as far as colors and spacing. I know these are not the same, but this is kind of what we're now mopping up in the end. And really all it is we're moving these settings from proposals where we started, and now we're migrating, moving everything that we're building and modifying and iterating on there. It has to come down the pipe to here. So it's not like we don't know what to do here. It's already done, just needs to be implemented here. And this is the state of it as of today. Okay. So here's the form. Well, I'm sorry, let's start here. It's remembering where I was because I was playing around earlier. Let's go back. Okay. So this is what I built before. I used the same items as we saw in the proposal. So yes, you can choose. We have an addition. Here's our math. Here's all the layout, just like before. And then we can, next step, I know we can do better here, and we will. And here's the form in its bare first look with the default fields. You can add to this if you'd like. We need, of course, yes, Chaplain 2. In fact, I think you can even set this as a default on. But yes, this is the best way. And just so you guys know that a lot of this company logic that we have to do is to not reveal the companies that you're working for. So a lot of people in support, let's say, why can't you just put a select box here so that they can just choose the company? Well, the reason is that we don't can't reveal all the companies that you are working with. You know, that's a privacy problem. So a lot of this logic that seems at first to be somewhat uh, foreign, maybe, but it looks good. I mean, it works well. And thanks, you got me here. It looks good. Well, it'll look a lot better. It'll look a lot better. So now they fill out the form, they go the next step, and then this is where the form sits for. Let's just do it real quick. Okay, let's go to the next one. And then we'll see the credit card form load. This is a Stripe form. This will get expanded out and look really nice. And then they fill in the information and they pay, right? And then everything happens. So this is the early look at it. And you can build an entire landing page here with your offer and explanations of your offer and all the things that you need. I've really made this super simple here for our video. But this is a public facing URL with a friendly CFO services offer. So this is essentially exactly what you need to sell whatever you need, give your customers all the choices they need. You can work with unknown targets. You can work with known targets. You can take advantage of even what's interesting, if you don't know already, on landing pages, you can set blocks to be private. And what this means is only logged in users will have them. Chaplain Tig, that's coming. That's in the next iteration. We'll talk about that in just a second. So you can create this, quote, public page that if in that browser a user is logged who is already a known target, you can reveal additional sections of the additional rows, additional columns, additional blocks to that user, and really let them know that, hey, we know who you are. We're good. You can even use placeholders. So imagine that your website in the future, imagine that your website had the ability to always know who's on it if they are a known target or an unknown target, and then start adapting and revealing new content to the people that are known. Not only that, but inserting data from their profile, not just their name. Any custom field can be inserted immediately. Imagine, there's just so many scenarios that you could use that, and they're really, really powerful. So when your customers return to your website, you can talk to them like, hey, almost like they're in the portal, right? Really, it's almost the same thing. In fact, it really is the same thing, except for it morphs when someone hits it that's not a known target, that's an unknown target, then they see just those blocks that are not marked private. Okay. So everybody understands how we'll create the items, create the add-ons, create the packages. Then we will create a checkout form that we will define what is being offered, and choose our gateway and choose the actions and the automations that will happen when the form is fired, so that everything is the circles are added and the email marketing audiences are assigned, and all the things that are available in automations can be super custom targeted to exactly that checkout process, because it's targeted to exactly the items that they chose in a dynamic way. So, you're probably going to want to start building a lot of your automations that really define things on the items or packages level, most likely. All right. So that's sort of the core foundation logic. Now let's get to some more interesting understandings about what's happening here. Okay, so this is available now. You can set up, just like I showed, one-time items here, one-time add-ons. These are conditional based on what they choose up here. Your other option, if you choose packages, you can only use packages after that. You can't use one items or add-ons, and you can add one-time packages. We saw that you can make one-time or subscription packages. So you can put one-time packages and subscription packages side by side, And if they check out or choose a one-time package, and in fact, they can choose both, uh, and that's important. I'll show you in a minute. Uh, we'll charge them just the package price, or if they choose a subscription plan, we're going to only look at the subscription plan for the pricing. Now, understand this. Inside this package, say I have 20, let's just say I have 4 items and 4 add-ons, okay, inside the package. And remember, each one of these has a price. Each one of these has a price. But when I put them in the package, suddenly they don't have a price, okay? Their price is ignored. They're in the package, and I can sell this package for $1 if I want to. You'll sell it for something not $1, but you understand. But we will, right? Remember, you can set automations for each one of these in these add-ons, but we will fire all the automations. Okay, so when someone checks out with this package, we're going to fire all the automations that are uniquely associated with each one of these items exactly as we should. And that keeps you from having to rebuild them. So it also gives you the capability of creating multiple different packages using multiple different variations of these items. Maybe you want to add just this one and this one in one package, maybe 3 to one package, maybe 2 to one package. And you can pick and choose to your heart's content without having to then on the package level kind of try to recreate those automations, and that's just not going to work, obviously. So we will fire all the automations, but we will ignore the pricing associated with this construction here. So in all cases in packages, we will fire all the automations, and we'll fire the automation that you can assign to the package in case you want to have some sort of additional automation that gives them probably an additional circle or something like that you say, well, they purchased all these individual services and they purchased the package, so I'm going to give them another circle that will help me identify them and message to them uniquely because they're part of the silver package, the whatever the package is called. Okay, so coupon codes down the road, Arlene. Let's get to that in a sec. So is this clear for everyone, right? And just to complete this logic, just one more thing. When you have a subscription package, as you saw previously when we were showing the packages, you will associate a subscription plan, which you create separately, and you'll say, okay, for this package, I want to associate this subscription plan, which when the person checks out, we'll create a subscription for them for whatever X dollars a year you choose, or per month, or per day, or per whatever you choose, right? And that's what will be, that's where the pricing will come from in that case. Each person who checks out will get their own subscription. All right. I think that's clear. Now, there are some shortcomings to this, meaning it's good. It fits a lot of use cases, but I think a lot of us and a lot of you realize that there's some other things that maybe it won't do. Okay. Meaning, can I let them build their own package out of items that I'm offering? Or can I have a subscription add-on that they choose that creates a different subscription for them for some additional service? Have you guys, I'm just curious, this is the collab side of this meeting, like what have you run into? What kind of scenarios are you trying to build, or maybe have tried to build in proposals, or can think of that are not addressed here? One thing might be, say, you want to sell a website package, and then you want to have a hosting subscription alongside of it. And that's technically not possible with this one item, one add-on situation, but what you can do is, here's a creative way to do it. Create your packages with just one item in there, right? So imagine you wanted to create a subscription item, or you wanted 4 subscription items. Well, when you go to item, you see that there's not a subscription option, not yet. And so you might say, well, what if I just created 4 packages that had one item each in it? Now suddenly I can create a spectrum of 4 packages and I can have subscriptions and they can choose. And then maybe I can choose a hosting subscription on top of that. But then we lose the conditional logic power. We lose a few other options in that. It's a little workaround. It can work, but it's not exactly as powerful as it can be. So let's talk about what comes next, right? The next iteration, and this is already being developed. I can't give you a timeline, but we're moving rapidly on this already. The checkout form will be released in that first iteration that we just looked at. So soon you will have the checkout form. It will do all the things that we just talked about. We can draw a line right here in this presentation and say, what you're seeing now is won't be part of the first iteration of checkout forms, but it will come after when we're able to build it all and get it all sorted out. Okay. So from here forward, we're talking about next iteration and comparing it with the existing iteration. I do think that what we're releasing with the checkout form and is already currently functional in proposals is really, really powerful in the sense that it covers many, many scenarios. But we want to always try to give you as many options as possible, be as flexible and powerful as possible. So in the future, you will, yes, have one-time items and yes, have one-time items, add-ons, excuse me, but you will also have subscription items. You also have subscription add-ons, one-time packages and subscription packages you have already. This will increase the power of what you can do fairly dramatically in the sense that you will have still the conditional logic associated with add-ons that you can stack subscriptions. You can have these multiple subscription items and add-ons if you'd like, give them that power to choose. Okay. Everybody understand how this is different than the previous? But let's keep going. I'm building the logic. You know how I like to do this. One little bit at a time so we don't get overwhelmed. All right. Let me zoom in a little more. Here we go. Okay. So you can have one-time items, one-time packages, subscription items all together. You can have subscription add-ons and one-time items all together. This can all sit on the same checkout form, and they can choose these, and they can choose add-ons associated with them and check out. But there's still a little bit, this is still awesome, but there's a reality here that I need to explain. Okay. All subscriptions don't have the same time frequency, right? So one subscription might be per month, one might be per year, one might be per day, one might be per who knows what. And so what that means is that's the major limiter in the sense that if my customer comes here and they choose subscription package and they choose this subscription item and they choose the subscription add-on, this is going to result in separate subscriptions, each one generated from this subscription plan, and it's going to be multiple line items on their credit card statement. If that's 10, it's going to be 10 line items. Now, there's some advantages here. One is that they will be able to cancel each of these individually. So if they choose this add-on, for example, and they decide that they don't want to keep the add-on, but they want to keep these other ones, they can go to their My Billing dashboard and cancel this plan, but keep these. So that's an advantage. That's good that these are all separate, because if we, quote, merge them all together into this one payment, then what will happen, right? What will happen when that payment fails? Let's see who wins this contest, because I really want you guys to understand that there's no alternative to this logic, no practical alternative. When the payment fails, every service will be canceled. Why? Because if we merged them all together into one payment and somehow did some math and said, oh, well, this is per month and this is per year and this is per day, we can start dividing and multiplying by 30 and 12 and all these things and come up with some $25.16 subscription and to make it really easy. So we only have one line item. When they cancel it, we what do we do, right? The only thing we can do and know to do, and the only choice we have is to cancel every service and say, well, it's done. So this multiple line item is kind of we don't really love that, right? Don't love it, but there's just no alternative. There's no logical alternative. So let's just focus on the positives, and that is that they get to come here and they can say, I don't really love this one. I don't need that anymore, but I do love this one and I want to keep it. So I'll cancel this, keep this. That works good for you. That's better, right? But it's still not perfect. Right? It's still not perfect because I really wanted the now this might be the scenario that I want in some situations, but in other situations, I want to maybe give them some options up here and then some options down here that they can add. And I'm really, really adamant. I would just really have to have it all on this one line item, just one subscription, one item on this credit card statement, where we're going to give you an option for that. And let's introduce what we call bumps. Okay. And then let's explain bumps. You guys have probably seen price bumps in other systems, and maybe they work this way, maybe they don't. We're just going to call them bumps because it's kind of what they do. It's a familiar term. It fits in our lexicon without bumping into something else or making problems with other kinds of nomenclatures. So here's what bumps can do. The difference between a bump and an add-on is a bump has no time frequency designation. None at all. The only thing it has is a price. Okay. So let's just say this bump is, we're going to call it $49. Okay. And you can extrapolate on these other ones can be different, right? And this bump represents some service, maybe similar to an add-on, right? Maybe similar to, whatever else you have. But now remember, you're going to design this. Okay. So we're not going to try to assume that we know what you intend. You're going to design this and it's going to work as you want it to. And this is what will happen. Let's say they're choosing from here. Okay. One-time items, subscription items, one time. They can choose any of these. And then if they have a bump, let's use subscription package, for example. Let's say this is $100 a month. Well, because this has no time frequency designation, it's very easy for us now. If they choose this bump and this package, we're going to modify the price of the subscription plan for this person to $149 a month. We're going to take the time frequency from as it's designated here in the package, and we're not going to even think about it. It's going to be per month. So when you design these bumps, you're going to know this, right? And you're going to say, okay, when they add $49 to this package, and these will have conditional logic that are associated to these items. So, for example, so that would prevent any kind of unintended bumps that you didn't intend for a specific item or a specific package. Okay. So you'll be able to fully control when this is selected. Now this bump is available, and this is per month, and this is the number you're comfortable with in business for a month. And now this changes from 100 to 149. If they add multiple bumps, we keep adding. We keep adding, bumping the price. Bump, bump, bump. Okay. And then what will happen is when they check out, we're going to have one single subscription, one line item on the credit card statement associated with this package, for example, and it's included bumps. And yes, Arlene, one time. But for this subscription, if they add bumps, then it'll be one subscription and one line item on the credit card statement. If they're choosing one-time items, they can bump as well. And so those can just have, we're just going to bump the price of the one-time item. We're going to change the price of it, and then we're going to check out with that new price. Okay. And this solves every problem just about, but it also enables an entire spectrum of checkout possibilities. Now, I intended to make some additional sketches here to sort of talk about all the different ways that you could use this. But Imagine that, maybe we just do it on the fly. So now you can do anything. You can now, it doesn't show here, but you can create, let's see how on the fly we can get here. So you can create all this. You can have all the bumps that are associated in a conditional way with these items at the top. And you can have add-ons. So now you can have 3 levels. You saw before we had 2 items and add-ons. But now you can present a full spectrum of all of this in one checkout or proposal presentation. You can offer all of this in one presentation, and they can choose any of them. Now, again, if they choose subscription item, subscription add-on, that's 2 different subscriptions, 2 line items on the credit card. That we can't avoid that, and we've discussed why, because of the variance in time frequencies that could cause those problems. But bumps, if they solve your problem and you don't need this level, then great. If you want to offer this level as well, then great. So let's think about it like this. If I wanted to say have a website package, this is something that everybody's kind of familiar with. A website package that's here, it has a subscription plan. It could or it could not. It doesn't matter. I could come up with a way that we could have subscription plan for a package, website. And then we want to offer some additional services here with the website package, maybe some, I don't know, proofreading or content creation or whatever we see. It's just a one-time bump that they can just use to bump the price of this up, and you can upsell them on the website side, and it still doesn't change the package frequency. So maybe this is every year or every month or whatever you want to call it, but it changes the price because they bumped. But let's say also you want to offer an SEO add-on or a hosting add-on per year. Let's say this one's per month, this one's per year, and you want to offer these bumps like content creation, proofreading, image creation, something like that, photography, whatever it is. These you want to associate with this. You want it to constantly be renewed as the website package is renewed, and you want it to increase the price. But this is per month. But now you have the option of having this subscription add-on, which is hosting per year, right? So this is, in that paradigm, you need all 3 levels here, and you need them to work like this. And if you don't have it, you're kind of hemmed in, or you're looking for a workaround. Does that make sense? So this is kind of the paradise that we're moving towards, right? So this is this construction, we think we're here to put it in front of you. This is what this video is even for. But we feel fairly confident that when we build this construction and make all of this available, bumps can have their own automations. Bumps can be separately canceled. I didn't mention that. So from their, when they go to their My Billing dashboard, they'll be able to go to this package and say, well, I don't really want to have that part of the package anymore. I just want to cancel that. Well, all we do is just adjust the price of the package down for whatever the value of the bump was, and we continue per month. That's the killer, right? Means bumps work so well because we don't have to care about what some frequency is of the charge or the subscription. We just roll it in with the package price, and we bring it down or up based on the bumps that are added or canceled. For the the hosting subscription, which is yearly, that's separate, and that's going to show as a separate line item on their invoice. Unavoidable. No way it can happen any other way. But now they have a website package subscription and a hosting package subscription are different. We'll do our best to pass descriptions to the merchant so that it'll show as much as possible on the credit card statement, to avoid confusion for your customers, right? So they don't see two charges and they're like, I'll call them up and give them a piece of my mind, right? We'll do our best to pass as much as possible, but I think most of you guys know that no matter what we pass, it's up to the merchant or the issuer of that card as to how much information they provide on a statement or on their website or whatever. So again, we'll do our best, but it's going to be up to Stripe. It's going to be up to the other, whoever's processing the credit card, how much information they actually reveal to the person. Okay. Thank you, thank you, Chapin Tig. All right, let's do some questions. But any questions as to the capabilities here, as to the reality of how this can work in your business, or just some confirmations that, hey, this is perfect. I can see exactly how I will build my offers. I can see exactly how I'll connect them. I will see exactly how I can, assign automations, designate automations for a bump or for an add-on or for a one-time item or one-time package. Is this going to work for you? I think so. I think so. Let's handle some questions while you guys are probably picking yourself up off the floor, just blown away, right? No, I think this is cool. This is really fun, right? Fun to try to hear community. And a lot of this is, as I just want to say very clearly, we released the original proposal logic and we listened, right? And we listened, and our community is telling us and was telling us, okay, yes, that's great, but could we do this? How can we do that? And after a few weeks of feedback, it was clear that, okay, we need to take more steps. We thought we would. We were pretty sure we would, but it was what we needed to hear, and specific use case examples that we knew we needed to conquer. And after a few sessions, some long sessions, and a lot of different angles, this is what we came up with, and I think it's really it really has the potential to solve every problem that I've heard so far, every one. In addition, I'll say this before we start on questions. We will have the ability to create items that you can offer, what we call them donation items right now in-house. I'm not sure that'll be the final price or the final nomenclature, but essentially will give them a blank when they choose it, and they will enter $500, $5,000, $5 million, whatever they want to do, and we'll check out with that number. In addition, there will be quantities available. In some of these, I can't say exactly all of them yet, so please don't hold me to anything. There's some complexities associated with quantities. One of which is, for example, automations. And the only reality that is even feasible is that it doesn't matter if they buy 5 or they buy 20 or 1,000,000. We're going to only fire the automations once. That's the working assumption there. But that's still to be put through the crucible, and we'll see, right? I mean, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. Maybe we can find ways to make it more flexible. Maybe we can give an option. I'm not sure yet. That's down the road. So Kiara says you definitely work. Arlene's great. Totally functional. This is great. Can't wait till it's available. Right. I hear you, Crystal. Well, good thing is we are moving already, and we understand this. And that was sort of, you are now seeing the causation why this was a less than 24-hour session, because I just thought, you know what? Before we really start, and we're started, but this is how close it is to being really, really underway. Let's make sure that we put this in front of the community and get good feedback. Maybe we're missing something. And if we're missing something, I want to know now so that we can modify or add it in. Okay. Let's see. Yes, you can embed these forms on a checkout on a website. Arlene says, will these be embeddable checkout forms on a WordPress website, or does it have to be a landing page? Yes, you can embed this like any kickoff form, Arlene. It will work exactly the same. So you can embed it on a website, any website, WordPress, Wix, doesn't matter. Or you can use a landing page in SuiteDash. In that case, you can use the form block, which is a no-code way to add it in. And in the future, you might be able to embed it on your SuiteDash website. I don't know. Maybe you can. Will there be wording in SuiteDash somewhere in the process that explains to the client how it shows in their credit card statement? Well, we can leave that up to you, Julia. I think that's really kind of a thing that you could easily accomplish with a placeholder, with a email cannon, or any kind of messaging process. You could add them to a certain circle, show them a notice. I think that's a best left to you, because if we try to say that, first we'll say it wrong. You won't like the way we say it, so you want to change it. We'll only say it in English. Then we try every chance we get to be as world centric and not northern hemisphere centric as possible. So always available for translation, et cetera, et cetera. So it's better, I think, if we use one of the existing tools that all these automations will easily enable for you. So yeah, I think so. And I know you know how to do that. So do all these include trials? Yes. Discounts. Caveat, I will get to that. Initial deposit different from the monthly subscription. Maybe, Arlene. Yeah. All the subscriptions will work exactly like they do now. So these subscription plans are existing elements that you can control now. And so however you can work subscriptions now will work in this paradigm, and that includes free trials. Discount/coupon codes is something we'll address after this, as it'll be an addition to this after. The checkout is all delivered, smoothly working, etc. And the initial deposit different from monthly is current. To be honest, I can't remember if it's currently possible, but I understand that. I think it is. Caitlin might be able to tell me on this one. One-time bump or subscriptions. Bumps are definitely not subscriptions. Okay. So Arlene, we'll say it again. Let me just say it. I think you get it, but I just want to say these have no subscription capability. These have no subscription details. They have no anything. They do have automations, but when you bump, you are adding to a subscription or a one-time. You're just modifying the price, and that's it. So you can have a one-time bump here and one time. Okay, I see your question now. You understand. But yes, you can have bump to one time, and you can add bump to website. So if this is a one time of 1,000 and this is a $100 service of one time, then you're going to associate these two, right? You're going to say this bump's only available when this is happening, if that's how it works in your business. And then when they bump, it'll just raise the price, and this will check out as a line item, and the price will be different than the $1,000 or whatever I said, right? Okay, let me look back. Kara says makes sense, totally makes sense. Coupon codes we covered. So helpful, thank you. Name your own price field, that's covered now. We will have that. Name your own donation field, we call it. Name your own price, I like better. It's good direction. A little too long. Got to figure out how to make that shorter, but we'll figure it out. Everything looks good. Good. Heard that's on the way. What's on the way? Okay. Arlene says can probably get rid of Thrive Card. I hope so. We're going to keep working until you throw that Thrive Card out. Nothing is Thrive Card. Insert any service here that does anything like this. Yeah. No offense. Good luck to them. But, we're trying to all-in-one here. Will you be adding an affiliate function anytime soon? We will be adding an affiliate power-up, Arlene. It will be a power-up. And I can't say anytime soon. We hope that it'll be by the end of this year. It's a very, very deep functionality. You need to understand. Please understand that insert name of affiliate software here. First Promoter is one. That's one. These guys have been building this for 10 years. Okay. So are we going to build something in a couple months that will rival that? No. But we will start, and we will build something that's basic that accomplishes the needs of 85, 90% of people. And then we'll listen, and we'll sort things by volume and we'll start adding nice to haves, filling in the remaining 10 to 15% over time. And that is an encapsulation of the business model completely, as you just heard. Okay. What other questions do you have? Automations. Let me make sure that I have okay, so we understand the subscriptions, how in some cases they'll be separate, some cases they'll be combined using this paradigm here. There's some additional questions I have here, just some additional points to say. Okay, let's make sure that we understand that probably, for example, if you put a subscription add-on inside a package, right? We talked about how you can put all kinds of add-ons and items inside a package and then offer them for a lower price. So if you have 10 subscription add-ons that are each $10 each, $10 a month, and you add them in here, then we remove the $10 a month subscription from them, but we give you all the automations and they get the services, but for a lower price at one subscription, right? So if you try to add a subscription add-on here or offer it, excuse me, in the offering side, if you try to start offering it, we will probably have a validation that will say, hey, you can't offer this as an additional option to this because this is already inside of that. So, maybe we'll try to prevent that. Maybe we won't. Maybe we'll leave that up to you to be smart enough to understand and figure out, okay, I don't want to offer this because it's already in here. So there's some cases where we can't protect you from yourself. Some cases we try to. Usually it's we try to hit the point of diminishing returns in that spectrum, but there's a lot of places in the platform where you could easily create an infinite loop. You could create all kinds of conflicting commands, conflicting automations. If we tried to control for those, the whole team would be engaged constantly trying to, and we don't even really understand or know how to protect you from yourself. But just keep in mind that you may be able to absolutely, Crystal. I love that part. You may be able to create something that kind of doesn't make sense. It won't break anything, but you may have somebody check out with a subscription or an add-on in addition to an add-on. That same add-on is already in the package, and then you'll have to sort that out on the customer service side. Some of these things we're not going to be able to prevent or control. Okay, so checkout form on the way. Checkout form plus the future, including subscription items, subscription add-ons, and bumps, is on the way after that. All right. So what do you guys think about these sessions, this feedback, collab sessions? Helpful? Yeah, I think so. And I'm not sure. I'm hearing that so the collab side of it is, say, this fill in the blank, name your own price. The quantity, nobody said that, but I think we've heard that already, so that's fine. We'll just put that in there. Yeah, exactly, sister. I love that, sister soldier. All right. So, yeah, and you guys as VIPs, you're the first ones to hear about this. If possibly you were interested, maybe you were running some kind of coaching circle or agency partner program or reseller program or something like that. It's real, or you're doing YouTube videos or you're doing something like that. It's good for you to know before everyone else. You can just jump out and get the information out there, comment on it. And this is going to be on YouTube. We're not trying to hide this. We're not trying to hide it. But for those of you who are professionals and part of the work that you do is related to SuiteDash, we really do want you to have this sort of inside track and inside mastermind, this mastermind knowledge of all of us are here talking and just chatting it out really informally. as much as possible. And that can help you in your business for sure. Okay, well, thanks everyone for your time and attention. Let's go ahead and close out this session and for now officially, and then we're going to have a little Q&A just because I want to know. Okay. So that's going to be the end of this topic, but if you want to stick around for a Q&A, I'm happy to do it. All right. So who's the first one to start throwing questions? Yes, sister, it can help you, right? Julian, you'll be able to call all your clients and say, okay, get your credit cards ready. get your checkbooks out because it's time to go to work. I have some new things that we need to set up on your portal, and we need to offer these things, and you're gonna love it. And by the way, I have an hourly charge. Okay, Crystal, go ahead. And Arlene, in a second, Arlene, for sure. Well, let's get Arlene's questions until we have it. So what's coming for the community feature? Down the road for the community feature, we're looking at well, first LMS course community. That's something that was on the roadmap that we haven't really heard. It's one of these things that we definitely think will be helpful, but we don't really have a lot of to my knowledge, almost no noise about how that can and should work, or there's some shortcoming, because I think most people that are putting together an offer, right, are already understanding how they can give access to a community or private space at the same moment or in a similar moment as they give access to an LMS course or product. So that's something that we talked about, having a sort of a linked private space inside a community that would be only for those who are in the community. Eventually, we would like to have the capability to add, for each course lesson, to add a discussion thread that's just unique to that lesson. So when people have questions about that lesson, for example, if you've ever played with Duolingo, which I think most people seem to have had some experience, it's perfect because you have some little lesson or challenge that you answer and you just don't get why it's wrong. Then you jump into the little discussion thread and you're not alone typically because it's confusing. And then people say, oh, well, in Spanish, this is why it's like that, why it's like that. And it just helps you understand a little bit more. And it could be a place also where instructors can feed back to students there in the LMS lesson itself. So that would be really just a community. You would need the community add-on, the community power up to have that capability. But so it would be quite valuable there. Okay. Pardon me. Okay, so yep, that's one thing. And then additional long term would be something that's an essentially a repackaging or a well, imagine this. If we had a landing page that had, imagine a landing page with community features on it, some pre-built layout for community that was meant to be public facing, part of it, meaning, oh, here's a cool community and here's some public spaces, some public conversations that you can see. But if you want to comment, if you want to be a part of the conversation, then you need to register. And when they quote register, that's kickoff form, right? And in they come to your system as a lead or prospect or whatever you want to make it. And so then it's a public facing community presentation that you can use as a lead gen and an SEO gen, right? But that would have to fit your narrative, fit your business, because maybe most people or some communities want to be private and only like that. But that is a typical community functionality to have the ability also to make public. And for those exact reasons, as lead gen, essentially, or um, to SEO, as people are asking questions, that enters the search engines and pulls people in towards you, essentially. Okay. Okay, let's see. Since SuiteDash has become the official tax prep portal, yeah, will there be additional roles that we can add to help tax preparers to see only their clients other than the salesperson? Yes, Crystal. We're definitely moving in that direction. And in fact, we'll use the salesperson logic and adapt it. Now, these let me ask you this. I mean, let's discuss a little bit. So these tax preparers, they work for you, or they're uh, outside contractors? Let's just say that, whatever you call them, but they're outside. They're not your staff, 1099 contractors. Okay, exactly. Uh-huh. Got it. There's a couple angles we are working that could take care of that, but it won't be short term, Crystal. I want to be really transparent here. That's not something that we're actively working on or trying to solve at this moment, but we understand that it needs to be solved, that you need it, and that that there are a lot of people out there who need a similar construction. Let's see how much. Let's see what other questions we have, and I want to kind of float an idea to anyone that's ready. Okay, I built out these 7 tax systems a week, and that is the number one thing they ask. Well, now you're getting some leverage. Yeah, there you go. Crystal knows how to get leverage. Yep, very smart. Okay, you have my attention, Crystal. I hear you. Okay, so let me handle some other questions, and I want to use my little board here and try to brainstorm a little bit. We'll do some collab. Okay, let's go back. I use AI to help with notes during Zoom meetings. It's pretty cool, right? Anyone figured out how to send those notes to a client without needing to create an email or use the portal message feature? Well, so you, Wally, yes, am I seeing that right? The font's really small. Um, are you using the Zoom integration for appointments to create the meetings? Is the first question. And that's like a bridge question because it definitely wouldn't be possible unless that's happening. So if you are doing that, then what we can do, we haven't revisited that integration in quite a while, but AI has dawned, and so I would suspect that we can get that by API and then kind of roll something like that into. And you want to automatically send it to them, warts and all, because right, I mean, we all know AI can lie to us and hallucinate and say weird things, but if that's okay with you, I mean, I think that's the only way. Otherwise, it doesn't have any utility. But if you're using the Zoom auto create meeting based on appointment booking, uh-huh, okay, gotcha. She says exactly. I'll give you that. I give that caution. It's not perfect. Yeah, it's getting better though, right? Okay, good. So that's something. Let me make a note here. I'll check the Zoom API for AI notes. Okay, great. And okay, on the kickoff forms, is it possible at some point to allow answers put in on the kickoff form to transfer on the same kickoff form in agreements? You mean in documents, I think. You want the answers in a kickoff form to transfer into a document, Crystal. I think that's what you're saying. Yes. And do you mean a PDF document? I think you mean. Because you can do that right now with the auto-generated documents from Block Builder, from the dynamic block editor. You can do that right now. So when they create a kickoff form, each one of those data entry places is a placeholder, which you can pre-configure into a document generator, and then trigger that document generator by automation of the kickoff form itself. Kickoff form can trigger it. and then the document just gets generated, and you got the old merge of data between the document generator and the data was just entered in the kickoff form, and now you have a document that's exactly as you need, right? The place that can't be done is in a PDF document generator. We don't have the capability to break the PDF and insert that data, and not yet, but we plan to bring placeholders that are similar. Okay, Crystal says I want them to sign their agreement outside the system before they get in, which is possible, but there are areas on the kickoff form I want filled in when I have agreements on the kickoff. All right, help me out, Crystal, because I think you want the agreement first and then the kickoff form. What I would suggest doing is create a document generator that includes all this. Make sure that you have it turned to, there's a setting that you need to enable that allows it to be signed outside the portal, meaning without an actual login. That is currently possible, and that's what you would need to do in this scenario. And then you will create this person, but you will not invite them to the portal. And you can do this by a staff submit on a kickoff form. That's probably the way I would build it, because then you can systematize it, meaning you can have someone else understand how to do it and expose this kickoff form in the staff submit form scenario to this person, anyone, and they just complete the form. You design it for that your staff member to complete it, and then the automation will send them will trigger the document generator, which sends the document to them. They still are not in the portal. They have never seen anything else. There's a whole host of things you can do without them being actually in the portal. They can pay invoices. They can approve estimates. They can approve proposals. They can sign documents. They can and I have a list. It's going to be a podcast episode. So there's a whole scenario of things, and you can automate those in a chain, and they don't technically ever have to come inside your portal, create a password, none of that. It can all happen via we're coded and hashed links, and those links help us identify and understand the functionality behind them. Okay, so try that. I didn't quite get your entire question, but you're saying thank you, so I'm assuming that was close. A trigger to send the client their note meetings. Okay, yeah, Wally. Okay, okay. Is it possible to designate which LMS courses a subscriber can see? No, no, Arlene. LMS courses are not available in any kind of public way at the moment. Only to those who are logged in, prospect or client. Any future expansions and additional direct product collaborations in the near future, like Slack? No, Julia. I can almost guarantee we will never integrate with Slack. And I know that might not be what you want to hear, but it's just not our business model. And today's Slack is yesterday's. It's tomorrow's MySpace. Who knows? I know Slack's deep, but it's not invulnerable, and it's pretty close. But if we spend time there, then there'd be 5 other DM messengers that will come out of the woodwork that we need to start building for that. What we will do is beef up dramatically on the internal chat eventually. Right now, it is it could be better. Yeah, it could be better. It's one of those things where we're building 15 toolkits and we have to move the attention around sometimes. So when logged in, it can show what's available to access. I totally get that, Julia, or I mean, sorry, Arlene. I would suggest maybe something like maybe we can. The best way we could do that, which fits into our framework and really makes a lot of sense, is to have and like an LMS course block that you could then separately you could add to a landing page and configure to show, say, lesson 1, 2, 3, and then below that have some sort of, you have this checkout form where they can then pay to get access to everything, right? So then your course material that you built and spent a lot of time doing would be available to the public for, like, say, one or two lessons, and then you can unlock it. And you could even, in that scenario, you could use the landing page public and private functionality we just talked about, right? And you just reveal the rest of the lesson right there on the page somehow. So it's a possibility, but I think it's better just to bring them into the UI that you already have inside. But yeah, I like that idea. I'm making a note right now. LMS course. I'm going to call it a teaser block, right? That's the idea. Okay, good. That's cool. You can put that on your SuiteDash website. All right, let's see. Yeah. Okay, good. Salesperson. Right to your meeting, see a button, send notes, attending values. Oh, okay. Okay. Julie says, any simple way to have the tasks and projects primarily sort by due date? Huge ask my clients for. We're almost there, Julia. We have a big iteration in projects and tasks. Almost, we're almost to it. It's really defined and ready to go, and it'd be a big improvement. Quite curious about, have you played with the task block, the new task block? And I know it's not a replacement, but I'm just curious, does that do exactly what you want, in the sense that you can define the sorting in a way that you are happy with? We're we're close to, or have already released a modification to the sorting around due date, because that is a little bit different, and it's not intuitive exactly, maybe how it was working before. Okay. Yeah, more for the project managers. I got you. Okay. All right, I'm screenshotting your conversation here, and I will add that to my notes. Thank you. Great. Crystal, my login is available. Okay, good. Future expansions direct. Okay. It's more of a bridge for clients struggling to make complete switch. That's for sure. I get that. Yeah. Not much we could do there, I think. Okay, but noted, and it's in the database. I'll put it that way. All right. Crystal says, I've built out systems for credit repair companies as well, and they would like to create letters using the letter generated in the system, but they don't want the letters shown in the client portal. Sure, then is there a way to turn off the ability for clients to not see that? You can turn off the documents menu item and custom menus. Yep. So the system is designed like this, Crystal. In the menus, the primary menu, I'm going to call it the primary menu, which is on the left side, has the capability for you to turn it all completely off. Okay. You can show nothing, just one item dashboard if you want. And in lieu of that, you can build a combination of dashboards with button blocks, navigation items of any description you want, to move them properly to the places you want, and only present them under certain 6 scenarios. And in addition, Crystal, you can take that. You can take that. Yeah, Sharia, but you can granularly turn off the document part of it, of the Office primary menu, the top level menu. And if there's a shortcoming there, we want to know about it so we can make sure that can be done, because that's certainly the intention. But also, Crystal, you can, for that menu item, if you wanted to, just to point out the flexibility, you can show it only for specific circles, or hide it only for specific circles. So in that sense, you can not just turn it off in a brute force kind of way, but in a more elegant way, you can show it sometimes, not show it sometimes. In your case, I think you don't need that, but just to point out that you can do it. So as people move through your process and you're adding and removing circles, remember we talked about how circles are like wristbands at a concert. As you're adding and removing wristbands, circles, we're suddenly like, oh, you can get through this gate. Now you can go through here, but you can't go through here anymore. You can see this, you can't see that. Same thing. So you can constantly morph the presentation based on the circle or combination of circles that are currently assigned to that particular target. Okay. I think we are running out of questions. I'll give one more question a chance to sneak in for a minute. Let me make sure there's nothing I haven't seen or presented here. I think we are pretty good here. One more question. Let's see. All right, Julia. That's awesome. Can you consider creating a button in the document generator that asks if the document should appear for the customer? I want them to still be able to see their agreements and other contracts, just not custom documents such as, okay, got it, got it, got it. Okay, so sure. So in the document generator, we're going to say add a setting like make the generated document private only to the staff or admin side, essentially, right? We'll reword it however you need it. But that's what you're after? Okay, got it. That is definitely doable. I'm glad you have a use case for that. Okay, got it. Can you add other calendars? How do you mean system? It's not directly talking about. I wonder if you can integrate other calendars with SuiteDash. You mean like your other calendars? Oh, you want to take an ICS link is what they're called. You want to copy like take a calendar and import an ICS link from like I do it from my kids' school from their athletic programs and things like that. So then suddenly on mine, when they modify their calendar, it modifies on mine. I think that's what you mean. Maybe. Well, if so, I understand that's not possible now, but I think that's what you mean. Uh, in short, I would sort of say like if you want to do that, I would maybe ICS to your Google Calendar or whatever calendar maybe you have connected in the future Microsoft as well. So, and that would accomplish it, I guess. But mhm, for your calendar, Calendly, it's a nice product. I like it. But we're coming for them too. Yeah, you would be, you wouldn't, I mean, you don't really think that I don't think like that, right? Of course we do. Yeah. Great. I love them. I wish them luck. I really do. I think they'll kick they will kick our tail for years and years, and they have for years and years. But we're working as hard as we can to take a little business from them, one at a time, 100 at a time, maybe. That's what you want me to. That's how you want me to think. Trust me. That's how we get bigger. That's how we grow. Okay, but I wish them luck, and I have no ill will, and I think it's a great product. Just wanted to be clear. That's awesome, Crystal. I appreciate that. Thank you. You're an evangelist. I love it. You're a VIP, and I have your notes here as well as all these other ones, and we're definitely it'll be a part of a discussion. Can we add ability to add a credit card when they're scheduling a meeting in SuiteDash? Do you mean paying for a meeting? I hope you mean, Arlene, or you want to? Uh-huh. Definitely. Definitely. So meaning I think what you're implying is the ability to have a landing page or embedded checkout form where part of what they're buying is a meeting with you. And then after they pay for it, they can schedule it. They can have access to look at what you have available and schedule it. Or maybe in that's the first reality that you'll be able to sort out. And it well, as we looked at before, I don't have this set up now, and again, we're back to this, but in this in this form, you can already put an appointment booking functionality. So it'll be just kind of built in from the beginning. When they'll book the appointment here, but it won't actually get booked, and none of this data will actually. This kickoff form. This is another one of the difficulties that we had to wade through, and that is imagine this is a really big kickoff form with all kinds of automations and assignments. When they go to the next step here, we have to here in that moment where you saw that little rotating loader, we're kind of taking all the settings from that and we're putting them in this temporary holding place, right? We're saying, okay, well, we know what's going to happen, but it can't happen until this comes back and says, and gives us the thumbs up that, okay, we have the money. We're good. You can go ahead now, right? But until that happens, we can't do it. And in fact, there's some difficulties here, and especially there's some other difficulties related to this new strong authentication SCA, in that's mostly an issue in Europe, where this form really doesn't. When it submits and it gets a thumbs up, sometimes it's not an actual thumbs up. It's kind of like in Gladiator where they put the thumb sideways and they say, "Oh, it's a sideways thumb," and we're supposed to be like, what does that mean? What are we supposed to do? It's in process. Okay, but what do we tell our people? What do we do? There's nothing. So that's a difficult implementation in the sense that we don't always really, really, really know, right? And but there's methods. I'm not saying there's not a method, but it's definitely not as easy as always a thumbs up, always a thumbs down. With SCA, they have to send a text message or something like that to the phone. And then when that's approved, then when they're happy and everybody's confirmed, then we get the thumbs up. Then we take the bucket of the holding bucket and execute everything. Yeah. Wally says, I feel like I use 2% of SuiteDash ability and I'm constantly amazed what already exists. Yeah, I mean, it's a blessing and a challenge, as we always say, Wally. It's awesome. It's awesome. But to try to explain it to someone in even a short session of like an hour or two, we could start, but we're definitely not going to finish, and we would definitely leave some things out. Yeah, that's why a lot of our marketing, a lot of our ideas are always around, hey, take this ride with us. That's what we're asking you to do. We understand it's a commitment. We understand, and that's why we're listening to you as a community. But the way this is really going to work for you is if you say, I'm in. Okay. Good win, lose or draw, I'm in. And we're going to take this ride together. I'm going to start with the lowest level automation and kickoff form that I can start with. And I'm going to start building like a layer, a layer, a layer. But what our promise to you is, what our payoff is that you're building an actual business. You're building a construction that has value. Because if you take your quote, whatever business insert here, and you go out to sell it to somebody, they'll say, okay, but like, what do you have? Well, look at all my clients. Okay, but I don't know how to do that. Or I don't know how your process. So you're selling me a job, right? You go out and sell a lot of business. You're just trying to sell somebody a job. And they say, yeah, that sounds okay, but I'm not going to pay for it. But if you take this construction that you layered over the course of 4, 6, 8, 12 months, built all the automations. Every time you notice something wasn't quite right, you spend a little bit of time going in and saying, let me tweak that. Let me make that a little bit better. Let me change how that works. That's your work as a business owner. That's your work. That's your job. And then as you build and layer and perfect and refine and get better and a new feature comes out, you're like, sweet, let me work that in. You're tinkering and building and completing a construction that when you go to sell it, you can show them and demonstrate to them what it does. And literally you're selling them a username and password. And suddenly They have all this automated machine that you spent time building. And I know for a fact that there are people out there building these machines and selling them. Okay. So it works. You're not just you're building something that it has real value, not only to you in the moment, but also down the road. Right. Sister says, I love how you continue to evolve. Well, yep. Thank you, sister. That's awesome. And we'll continue. And that's why it's good that you say that, because please understand that all in one, I'm 100% sure that all in one software is the future. How can it not be? How could it not be? If we, as a bootstrap company who has no VC funding, I don't have anyone on my shoulder telling me to go this direction or go that direction. I don't have anyone with leverage over top of us forcing us to do anything, which is incredible freedom. What it also means is that I can sit here and listen to your ideas and decide today to start on that idea or this other idea without any flack, without any, oh, well, how's that going to bring us 300% return? Don't have to do that. If we as a bootstrap company can operate this way and build on the profits generated from real customers who use it and want to use it and love using it, is it not just totally obvious that that someone with $200 million in VC capital could also create something that works similar, same like this as an all-in-one with all these tools that work together that automate and do all those things? Of course, they can do everything we can do, no doubt about it. And we're not trying to be the only one. We know we won't be the only one. But what I do know and what I want to be is one of the people, one of them, one of the 6, one of the 10, one of the 9, whatever it is, who take on this challenge and move in this direction. That when people realize, oh, okay, so why am I doing all this? Why am I paying 8 subscriptions when I can do this over here? And as we expand the circle of usability, I call it, the circle is expanding outward, and every time it expands an inch or a foot or a meter, we take in another percentage of the population that is now usable and solves all their problems, or the majority. And everything that we add, the circle of usability gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's just inevitable that we will eventually bring in 80%, 75% of the world's market of small to medium businesses. I like that market. That's a good market. The entire world's small, medium business. Yeah, I can handle it. We can get 1% and be incredibly successful. All right, very good. And Wally says, I want to make sure this is clear. Crystal, checklist, recurring checklist is something that we're definitely focused on. We want to figure out the logic there. It's a little bit difficult, but yeah, I see it. I definitely see the need for that one. And love checklists, love it. Wally says in the VIP session, I hope I'm saying your name right, that I joined this week and I got kicking myself for waiting so long. Guys, she's so right. Look, these VIP sessions, these live support sessions, are the people that are running them are brilliant at doing this. At just make the time, go in there. It's really low key. Yeah, okay, great. Thank you, Wally. It's really low key. They're super nice. Nobody is, everybody that joins is super nice. I mean, this most of the time. So 100%. These people, and that's why we provide these to you, because SuiteDash is so big. We've talked about it today, so it can be complex. It can be difficult to get your head around. Shortcut. Go in there and say, "Here's what I'm trying to do." Let somebody who lives and breathes SuiteDash give you some advice. It's free. Well, it's not free, but it's a VIP. It's a VIP power up, and it's there's lots of ways to get that VIP power up. We make it almost very easy to come by, as much as possible, and it's super helpful. Really, people that attend a lot, even if you're just there to listen, I just about guarantee you won't leave without some light bulb coming in. You go, oh, okay, now I kind of get that. So, okay, well, I'm going to take my CEO hat off for a minute and try to go get some exercise or something. Yeah. Thank you so much for everyone that's here. I really appreciate all your feedback and encouragement. 100% totally appreciated. Please, I would wish you would all write a letter to my wife telling her how amazing I am. It's a joke. No, just kidding. She you get it. It's funny. All right. Thanks, everyone. I hope you have a great rest of your day.